skill.
Structured query language.
Structured query language.
What do you mean by structured query language?
It only works on structured data or well-organized data.
So how it works?
In tables,
Okay.
by executing a query, it will show results.
What is a query?
Query is a command which is which describes our necessary or our requirement.
In real time, in general, where we store the data? Where do we keep the data?
Database.
We keep the data in a database. Can you name few databases?
MySQL.
Okay, this is what my database.
MySQL.
DB2. Okay. MySQL is a database.
Big data.
Where is a database?
Mango database.
Teradata is a database. Sybase is a database.
Big data.
E-clinical suite. There are around 25 to 30 different databases which are commercially available. Each and every company, based on their requirement, they are going to choose any one database. They are going to commercially buy the database and they use their purpose to store the data, to keep the data, to maintain the data. So that means, in a clinical domain, whenever we conduct the clinical trial, we are going to take the subjects and we are going to give the treatment. From the subjects, we are going to collect the data in the form of a blood test. We conduct the blood test, we get the reports, and we collect a lot of information and we are going to put that information onto the CRF sheet. From the CRF sheet, we are going to enter the data into a database. In the same way, take any banking domain, a banking company. Whenever the customer do any transactions, now the transactions information will directly going to get stored in the database. Any financial firm, whenever do any activity, automatically that information will be get saved in the form of records in the database. Previously, we used to store our database sheet, not so organized, not so safe, then we are up to databases. So databases are very secure, safe, we can keep the data in the organized manner in the form of a tables. So that means in the real time, the data be stored in a database. Now, you are a data analyst. Maybe you're a SAS programmer, or maybe you're an R programmer, or a Java programmer, and all these tools are called ETL tools. You know what you mean by ETL?
Extract,
What
transform,
is ETL?
extract, transform, and load.
Extraction, transformation, and loading. Now, SAS is an example for ETL tool, R is an example for ETL tool, you know, SAP is an example for ETL tool, and Java is an example for ETL tool. All these tools are ETL tools. So what they do, they extract the data from the source location, which means database, they transform the data, and again they're going to load the data back into the database. So you're a SAS programmer, that means you're an ETL programmer. So as a data analyst, what is the source for you? The source is the data. And where we can find the data? Right now, the data is present in the database. So what we need to do, if you want to analyze the data, you should get the data into your analysis tool. It may be SAS or any other tool. And you will extract the data, you will transform the data, and again what you're going to do, you're going to put the data back into the database where you're going to store your data. So that means, as a data analyst, as a person who handles the data, every now and then, we should get the data from the database into your tool, we should analyze it, and we should transform, change the data, and again, you're going to put the data back into again the database. Now, as a SAS programmer, how to get the data from a database? Or maybe as a R programmer or some other programmer, how to get the data from a database and how to get the data back into the database again. So if you want to handle the data which is present in a database, how we can do that one? Between your analysis tool and the data source which is the database, we should have an interconnector between those two tools. Between the database and the analysis tool, we need to have a connectivity. Through that connectivity, we can access the data, we can transform it, and we can put it back the data. And that connectivity and the connector is called again RDBMS. What is RDBMS? Relational Database Management System. So now this RDBMS acts as a connection between your database and the ETL. Through RDBMS only, we can connect them. The most widely used RDBMS tool is SQL. SQL is an example for an RDBMS tool. So that means SQL acts as a connector between the database and your analysis tool. In our case, it is SAS. And by the way, what do you mean SQL? SQL is nothing but a structured query language. And you know what you mean by query? A query is nothing but an interrogative question. A query is nothing but a question. I'm so curious about you. Just imagine you are a table. Okay. Now I want to get some information from you. Okay. Now when I want to get information from you, now I'm going to ask you the question. Whatever the interrogative question that I'm going to ask you, and this is called a query. When I ask you a question, if you have an answer and you're going to throw the answer. So for example, I'm asking you a question, what is your name? Do you have the answer? In our table, in our brain in you, if you have the answer, you're going to throw. You're going to give the answer. So that means that data is going to present in a table. I want to get the information from the table. To get the information from the table, I'm going to ask the question, and that question is called as a name. What do you call it? We call it as a name query. A query is nothing but an interrogative question. Now we can get information properly. So I'll ask a question, and each question is a query. What is your name? Where are you from? What did you study? What are you doing? Each and every question is a query. So when we are going to have the question, we are going to ask the question, a table. Where we have the table is present in a database. The table is present in a database. Now we are going to ask the question, the table which is present in the table. If the table has the answer, it will give that answer. So whatever the question that you're asking, the query you're asking, if you nicely wrap that question in a package, and that package is called a structural query language. There is a certain rules to ask the question. If you ask the question nicely and politely, if you ask the question very politely, you're going to give the answer. If you ask the question very rudely, even if you have an answer, you're not going to give the answer. So to ask the question, we have a certain rules. By following the rules, if I nicely wrap a question in a package, and that package is called a structured query language. SQL is all about asking a question in a proper manner, in a right way. And how we are asking the question, and if you put in a question nicely back, that is called in a, we call it an SQL. Could you able to understand what I'm saying? So that means, as a data analyst or a ETL programmer, as a data handling person in day-to-day life, every day you have to deal with the database. Because your source is, your food is data, and where we have the data is present in the database. So that means, as a SAS programmer, or a Java, or a Python, Power BI, or some other programmer, if you Apache, Tableau, whatever the programmer you are, ultimately you have to deal with the data, and to deal with the data, you have to know SQL. SQL is such an important language. By using the SQL, only able to get able to access the data. That means, as a SAS programmer, you should have a proper SQL skills. As a SAS programmer, along with the SAS, you should have an SQL skills. You should know the SAS. You should know the SQL. Okay? And SQL is such important, and every day you have to handle with the SQL. So that means, along with the SAS tool, what you should have in your laptop, your system, you need to have an SQL also. Because through SQL only you can cut the database, and you can get the data. Then SQL is such an important thing. As a SAS programmer, every day you have to deal with SQL. Then if such a case, why can't we implement SAS in ourselves? So why can't we implement SQL in ourselves? So SAS thought in that way. So what SAS has done? SAS is implementing SQL in itself. SQL is important. Every day you need to have SQL. So important you need to have SQL. Why can't we implement SAS in ourselves? Why we need to have separate SQL to again? Why we need to install it and why we should use separately? Can't we implement it ourselves? Yes. SAS implemented SQL in itself. And that the SAS implementation of SQL is called as a rock SQL. The SAS implementation of SQL is called as a rock SQL. Is this clear, everybody? So since SQL is so important, SAS changes none, thoroughly SQL implementation changes number. And that implementation we can achieve through SQL. So that means now we can write SQL code within the SAS. And when we want SQL code within the SAS, when we want to communicate with the database, every time you should start with the SQL. Now as soon as you get the SQL, now SAS is going to connect with the SQL engine, and every day you should write the SQL code, and finally we are going to write a statement in between SQL and the quit. You are going to write a structured query language or SQL code. Understand if everybody able to follow what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yes. Now, what is the importance of SQL? Why we use SQL in SAS? Or generally, why we use the SQL? We use SQL for a few important reasons. Now, we use SQL to generate reports in SAS. To generate the reports, we are going to use SQL. And to generate summary statistics, we are going to use SQL. To return the data from the tables and views, that means to pull the data from tables which are present in databases or from the view files. I will show you how to create a view files later. Not only that one, to combine data sets or combine tables and views, we use SQL. Not only that one, to create tables, views, and indexes, we are going to use SQL. And to update data in tables, we are going to use SQL. And to modify the tables, that means to update the tables. To modify, to keep them, to add the new columns, to drop the existing columns, to add the data, we are going to use SQL. So we use SQL to generate the reports, to generate the summary statistics, to retrieve the data from the tables or from your views, to create the tables, views, and indexes, we are going to use SQL. And to update the data values in tables, we are going to use SQL. And not only that one, to modify the tables, which means adding the new columns, dropping the existing columns, changing the columns, we use SQL a lot. In SQL also, in SQL again going back, a table is again called as a table only. Vertical structures we call it as columns, but you know that in SAS we call it as variables, but again SQL we call it as columns. And the horizontal structures are called rows. But you know that in SAS we call it as an observation, but here we are going to call it as rows. In datasets we call it as tables, but here we call it in SAS we call it as datasets, but here we call it as tables. Now, what I'm going to do from today onwards, if you start learning SQL again as a fresher, it is going to take 1 month to 45 days. So since you know the SAS programming, you know the data stuff, so you know the base SAS, what I'm going to do, I'm going to teach you SQL by comparing with SAS. By comparing the SAS, how we write the program in SAS, the same thing, how we can achieve two SAS on SQL. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to compare both SAS and SQL. I'm going to write the code in both in base SAS and in SQL. First of all, I will ask you the questions, how we can write the code in base SAS, to the equivalent code, how we can write in SQL. Understand this very well? So that is going to be simple. If you were able to relate to the SAS, if you learn in that way, it is going to be a matter of 1 week time, so that you can learn all the concepts in detail. Because we already know base SAS, so that now it is going to be easy for us to learn SQL. Okay? Now, whenever in SQL, whatever the dataset that we have created by base SAS, we can use the same database in SQL also. Whatever the SAS statements that we have, all the SAS statements will also work in SQL. Whatever the information format that we have discussed in base SAS, those information formats will also work in SQL. Whatever the global options or global statements we have seen, like the title, footnote, lib name, file name, all the global statements will also work with SQL. Whatever the global options that we have seen, remember what are the global options that we have seen? All the global options, line size, page size, ES, center, center, number, no number, format error, independent error, all these global options works with both the data step and the SQL. all the dataset options, so keep, draw, rename, all these works with both base SAS and SQL. It is going to be very, very easy and common. And by the way, SAS and SQL is going to be common 50%. 50% both are common. So that means already know 50% SQL. If you're a SAS programmer and you already know 50% SQL. Now we are going to see that one from today's class. Okay? Now, and you are very familiar with the SAS class. If I ask you, can you please print? If you want to print a class dataset from the SAS library, can you tell me what the base SAS code that you mean?
Dot print data is equal to SAS class run cycle.
We are going to write a dot print. The data is equal to SAS help.class. Semicolon. And by the way, before going to the prop print, how we are going to write a syntax in proc SQL? How we are going to ask a question? How we are questioning nothing but a query? How we are going to ask a query in SQL? So whenever we want to ask a query, we always ask a query by using a statement called select statement. How we are going to ask a query? By writing a select statement. Now how we are going to select statement? The select statement is going to have few important clauses. Select statement is clauses. The select statement is going to have two important clauses. The first one is the select clause, and the second one we are going to have a from clause. So in the select statement, select clause and from clause are mandatory. Understand this, sir? Select statement here input clause and select clause and from clause. These two are mandatory. What we are going to write in the select statement generally? Now after the select, we are going to write the variable names or column names. And then we are going to write the from clause. What we are going to write in the from clause? In the from clause, we are going to write either tables or we are going to write the views. So we always ask a question through a query. A query is nothing but a select statement, and the select statement is going to have two important clauses. One is select and from. Without select and from, you cannot write a query. Now, after the select and from, we are going to have a sub clauses. These sub clauses are not mandatory. Depends on our requirement, depends on the query. We are going to write these sub clauses. What are the sub clauses we are going to have? The next one that we are going to have main class. Then we are going to have group by class. Then we are going to have having class. And finally, we are going to have order by class. Select from, where, group by, having, and order by class. Generally, in the where class, what we are going to write in the where class, we are going to write an expression. Again, in the group by class, we are going to write a column name or a variable name. In the having, again, we are going to write an expression. And order by, again, what we are going to do, we are going to write variable or column. These are the clauses we are going to have in the select statement. What are the two mandatory clauses which we have? By the way?
Select and from.
Select and from, and the remaining clauses are not mandatory. It depends upon our requirement. We are going to write this one. Very, very important. If you could able to understand this order of the clauses of half of this class word. So you should always, if you want to write more than, if you are writing more than two clauses in your query, you should always write in the same order. The improver focus query clauses you should always follow the same order. First, you should always have a select class. You should always have a from class. And then we should always have a where class. Then always you should have a group by class. And then always you should have a group by. And then finally we should always have a order by. We have to write in the same order. To remember this class order, this is the statement. By remembering this statement, you can easily remember the order of the classes. Some French wafers grow healthy oranges. The first letter of each word represents one class. This is a select class, from class, where class, group by, having, and finally order by. If you are writing all the 6 classes, you should write in the same order. You should not shuffle the order. Understand? Some people also do the same thing like this one. SQL is fun. When is help ordinary. SQL is fun when gives help ordinary. So by any means, please try to remember the classes in the same order. Now, I want to write a query. First I will go with the select and from, then later I am going to use a combination of all these. If you could, as I said, if you could able to understand these classes in the same order and the purpose of these classes, as I said, half of this query is over. Okay, now we'll see one by one. Now, I want to print this as a class. I want to do the in the base SAS. And you know, when aware of the base SAS, whenever we want to have a basic print of a class data set, this is the program that we write. Proc int data is equal to SAS help dot class semicolon. You know what is going to happen with the program? We are going to get the print of SAS help dot class data set. And you know that we have 5 variables and 19 observations. And this is how we are going to get the print. And you know that yes, proc print is going to have an extra column. OBS, if we do not want to have the OBS column, we are going to specify an option called no OBS. Now it is going to print 5 variables and 19 observations. I want to do the same thing in SQL. If you want to do the same thing in SQL, remember, if you want to write SQL code in base in SAS, then how we should start with? We should start with the proc SQL. And how we should enter it? We should always enter with the quit statement in between. Now I want to write a query. Why I want to write this query? What is the purpose to write this query? To print the class data set. What a query should write? I told you a query nothing but a select statement. What are the two mandatory classes we should have in the select statement?
Select and from.
Now I'm going to write this one. Now I'm going to start with the select. What are the variables? Select variable names, right?
Variable names.
If you want to print all the variables, simply we are going to select the star from which data set? From select the star means all the variables. From, so I have two classes here. One is select class, the second one is the from class. These two are mandatory. Select the variable names. If you want to have all the variable names, use the stars, and the star is nothing but all. From which data set? From the SAS class. Now select this program into the program. Now this is how we are going to get. By the way, this is the base SAS data set proc printer, and this is the proc SQL. Understand this, everybody? So this is the simplest query that you can write. We have only two classes here, select and from. can you tell me, by the way, I want to print the sans.cost data set. How we can print a sans.cost?
Other person is listening, sir. Malaysia.
Yeah, I'm sharing. Now I want to print a sans.cost. Can we copy a code at the code? SPL. Select the semicolon, quick cancel. If I use a property SQL, I'm just simply both this both are equal almost. Understand this for everybody? Now, I'm going back to the again prop print. By the way, when I'm printing the SAS class, I want to print only name, height, and weight. How we will write the code in the base SAS? Now, name, height, weight, print our name, base SAS, input transfer.
Data is equal to variables, variable
This is writing prop print. Data is equal to SAS, semicolon, name, height, weight, semicolon, and this is in complete in base SAS, right? Now, it is going to print, I do not want to have this column. If you do not want to have this column, you should write no obvious. Now, it is going to print only 3 variables. By the way, I want to do the same thing, now in progress here. If you want to print only 3 variables, again, how we should start our program? Progress here. Semicolon, select. Now, in the one variable column, there are any single case as but now, I do not want to have all the variables, so I want to print only 3 variables. Now, we should select what the first one I want to print. Name, height, comma, weight. Remember one very important thing, in base as anywhere, if you are writing a more than one variable, we should always separate it with the space. But in progress here, we should always separate the variables by comma. That's the fundamental difference. Base as like that. Whatever variables are keep drop logani, but whatever variables are what we should keep between the two variables? Just space. Whatever in SQL, we should always keep comma between the variables. Now, select name, comma, height, comma, weight from which data set? From simple, then quit. Okay, now select the program, equal the program. Now it is going to print only 3 variables. Now this program is equal to this program of base SAS. Understand this one? Could you able to follow what I'm saying? Now, I want to print the name, height, name section is from SAS class. Now tell me how we can print the name section is. Rockets here. Select the name, comma, section, comma, is from which data set? From SAS class. Okay, you make the base SAS like this now. I like this recommend yes and yes, can you sign? Understand this everybody? Now, you only tell me, I want to print the SAS class in base SAS by using a prop print. By the way, when I'm printing, I want to apply labels for all the variables. How will I write the code in base SAS?
prop print.
Tell me base SAS where I was starting? Prop print. Data is equal to SAS
Label of
name, sex is, height, and weight. And label statement. Name is equal to, I want to have it as a student name. In the same statement, sex is equal to, I want to have it as a, for example, gender. Age is equal to, I want to have it as a student age. And height is equal to, say for example, I want to have it as a student height in centimeters. And finally, weight is equal to, I want to have it as a student weight in LBS. This is obvious, but even though we have a label statement in prop print, by default, it cannot print the labels until unless you specify what label option. You have to give the label option. Now I have given the label option, now I execute the program, now it is going to print the label. And by the way, I do not want to have this column. If you do not want to have this column, what we should write? No obvious. This is what we have done in the base SAS, remember? Now I want to do the same thing in ProcSQL. I want to print all the 5 variables. While I'm printing, I want to apply the label. Now, while printing, if you want to apply the label, tell me how to start the ProcSQL code. ProcSQL, semicolon, select what is the first name I want to print? Name. Now, after the name, we get a label is equal to, now we can write the quotation. So now I want to have it as a name, student name. That means you no need to write a separate label statement. Within the select statement itself, we can write. Now, comma. What is the second variable? Second variable. Label is equal to, I want to have it as a name, gender. Comma. Third variable, age variable. Now I'm writing label is equal to, I want to have it as a name, student age. Fourth variable, height is equal to, I want to have it as a name, sorry, height. Then I'm writing label is equal to, student height in centimeters. And then weight label is equal to, now I'm writing, student weight in LBS. Finally, which data set? From SAS helper data class. Okay, you think we are going to write only in one statement. Now select the program, and this is base SAS, and this is ProcSQL. Now this is how we are going to get the page. This is in base SAS, this is in ProcSQL. So we only write a separate label statement. We also apply the labels in the same statement, the select statement. And by the way, we can write the same code like this one, we can write in a much simpler manner. You no need to write a label code label keyword also. Simply what we can write now, select what the variable name, space, within the quotations itself, now we can write student name. You no need to write the keyword label. Simple. Now, and then I'm writing an extra variable section, space, within the quotations, I am writing student gender. Comma. Again, third variable is variable, space, within the quotations, you can also write a student age. Now, comma, then height, space, within the quotations, now I'm writing student height in centimeters. And finally, comma, last variable, weight, space, within the quotations, now I'm writing, student weight in LBS. And finally, from which data set? From SAS helper data class and then quit. Select this program equal to the program. Now this is how we are going to get the print. So it's up to you if you want to get the label keyword. Now without the label keyword also, simply variable name space within the quotations, the label, and you can. Clear everybody? And the data set for label presentation and label. Either should apply the labels in the data set pack or now we should the label statement in ProcPrint. Clear everybody? Are you able to follow? Yes sir. You guys know base SAS, that's why I'm going a little bit fast. Is it okay? Yes sir. Yes sir. Now, by the way, every time I'm writing, this proc printer to see whether the data set is present or not. I don't do much analysis with the proc print or like, this project here, just in sampling purpose. Data set is there, print the data set, otherwise you will not get the print. So, only for sampling purpose, why should I take all the 23 or 90 observations? just 5 observations. If you want to have a sampling, just 5 observations. What will you do in the base test?
First OBS.
No, 5 print out. Drop in data.
OBS is equal to 5.
OBS is equal to
5.
5. So it is going to print out only 5 observations. What is the problem?
Maybe after dataset name.
It will print only 5 observations. I want to do the same thing in process scale. If you want to do the same thing in process scale, after the process scale statement, you should write an option called out OBS is equal to 5. Out OBS is equal to 5 is going to print only 5 observations. I do not want to separate by each program. Now I want to apply in the global option. Remember how to apply the global option? Options. OBS is equal to 5. It is a global option. It is going to affect the entire environment from now onwards, isn't it? Now we only try within the program. Now the OBS is going to work for all the programs from now onwards because it's a global option. It is going to print the 5 observations. If I change the OBS is equal to 3, now tell me from now onwards how many observations it is going to print now?
3 observations.
Only this is a global option. But if you want to have by default the OBS is equal to
Max.
max. That's right. Every time it is going to print all the observations. But if I want to do it for only this program, this cell is printed. Now I should write what we should write? Out OBS is equal to 2. Now how many observations is going to print now? It is going to print only 2 observations. And the base of OBS is equal to how? Just spelling right. Out OBS. Clear everybody? Now, I want to print the sample class. While I'm printing the sample class, do you know how we have the age values?
11 to 16. 11 to 13.
We have 11, 12, 13, 14 like that, right? I want to have 11.00, 12.00, 13.00. Tell me what is the format I should write in prop print?
5.2.
Data is equal to class and dot class. I do not want to have this column. I want to print all the variables: name, sex, age, height, and then the weight. And by the way, I want to print the 2 decimals for each variable. Age 5.2. Very good. Now I put this program. Now we are going to have 2 integers and 2 decimals like this one. So, if you want to display in a certain manner, what is the statement we write? In basis
Format.
Format. Now I want to do the same thing. Now let's by the way, how to print the data set first of all in SQL? Process scale. Select. I want to print the name, comma, sex, comma, age, comma, height, comma, weight from which data set? From sample.class. By the way, while I'm printing this data, what I want to do, I want to print the 3 decimals for each variable. If you want to have 3 decimals like this one, can somebody tell me what the format I should write? 6.3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.3. Now, within the cell statement itself, after the variable, before the comma, now we should write the format is equal to, what is the format I want to have?
6.3.
Now select the program, it's to the program. Now can you see how it is printing now? It is printing with 3 digits, not 3 decimals. Because I have given 6.3. So you don't need a separate format statement. Directly within the cell statement, after the variable name, we can apply the format. By the way, for height and weight, I do not want to have any decimals. Tell me what I do. I do not want to have any decimals. Yes, I want to have integer values.
8.0.
Into weight data.
2.0.
Format is equal to what's the rate? Format is equal to 3 dot. Here also what I'm going to write now, I'm going to write format is equal to 3 dot. Now see, without the decimals, it is going to print only integer. What happened?
Height format is this.
I have given the format now. Execute it. Now can you see? Without the decimals, it is going to print only integer value. But 66.5 since I have given 3 dot, it is going to print it is going to round to the next highest integer value. If I have 0.5 or more than that, it is going to round to the next highest integer value. And this is how we are going to. By the way, I want to print F as a female, M as a male. Can somebody tell me what should I do?
Format.
Do you have a format? No. So what should I do? I should create a format, semicolon, value. I want to create a dollar symbol, once the character says so, then I put a capital F is equal to what I want to have. I want to have it as a female. Then capital M is equal to what I want to have. I want to have it as a name, semicolon. No. Now select this program is to the program. We are going to have the format. Now I want to apply the format. Now what should I do? Should go to the select statement. Now within the select statement, where we have a sex variable. Now sex variable. Then what I should do before the comma? What we should write? Format is equal to the format we have created. Down there, sex. Now select this program into the program. But can you see how the data values are printing out? As male and female. This is easy. Base as a scale.
SQL.
Obviously, in certain cases, SQL is going to be easy. Easy in the sense simple. You can do everything in one statement. You don't need to write multiple statements. You can apply the label in the same statement, format within the same statement. Clear everybody? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay then. We'll continue SQL in tomorrow's class. Okay? We'll see all the classes in tomorrow's class. Then we'll go further after that one. Okay? Okay then. See you in tomorrow's class.
Thank you.
Thank you.